But speaking of your point, Adam, on how everything gets turned into like a racism thing, the most amazing clip ever of you taking on Gavin Newsom on your show. This is 2013, I think, where he was trying, well, I think it actually explains itself. You tweeted it out, but he was trying to espouse the plight of Black and Latinos within either the city of San Francisco or the state at that point. When it comes to financial difficulties, I'm trying to set it up without giving the whole thing away, and you decided to push him on it. Listen.
Half of African Americans in the state of California, roughly half of Latino families, have no access to a checking account or an ATM. Things we take for granted. They don't have a checking account.
What's wrong with them?
And well, because they don't have the resources to sock those things away.
Why do we have them?
A lot of different reasons, but roughly half those families don't. And where do they
why
end
do
up?
Armenians have them?
But where they end up is in check cashing places.
But I want to know why those groups, why those two groups don't have access.
Well, a lot of just happens to be that.
Do Asians have this problem?
I mean, a lot of communities have problems. A lot of whites have these problems.
Oh, so that's not just Black and Hispanic.
No, but
why did you bring up Black and Hispanic?
Because the magnitude is ominous.
But why so many of them?
It just happens to be the magnitude.
That's the way God planned it?
Not at all.
What about Asians? They were put in internment camps.
Yeah, in fact, it all initiated out of San Francisco. And the Chinese Exclusion Act came out of progressive San Francisco.
Are they the check
a lot of Asians certainly do.
Oh, so why don't you conclude them?
The only reason why is the magnitude of the problem.
There's so many more.
The magnitude in percentage
But there's no way to figure out how that happened.
We could talk about it. You know what I'm dealing with? I don't want to have a sociological debate.
Sure, why would you?
No, here's why.
Why would you want to do that? Because the person from the Times wouldn't write good things about you if you did that.
No, that's not the case, because I want to deal with reality. No.
You want to deal with reality.
I want to deal with the reality of people that are struggling, people are suffering. I want to deal with the problems in a pragmatic way.
Why are they struggling and suffering?
We can hold hands and surmise about all these underlying reasons.
I don't want to do that. I want to know why they're struggling. Why are they struggling?
A lot of folks are struggling because they can't find jobs.
Why Blacks and
because they're working.
Why Blacks and Hispanics?
Across the board, all socioeconomic.
Okay, so everybody's
struggling.
So Asians are suffering just as much as Blacks.
The face of welfare is not an African American family.
So it's Asian, Jewish, it's all of them.
Caucasian, it's a lot of
so
folks
we're all
in society.
struggling.
A lot of folks are struggling.
Okay.
That's amazing. Right. Yes, that was so well done. My favorite part is we could hold hands. I don't want to do that. I just want to know why. It was like a dog with a bone. It was brilliant.
Amazing.
And so your takeaway from that clip and that exchange that you had, Adam, was what?
Well, he came in and he just thought he was going to get the usual friendly softball treatment he gets everywhere when he does an interview. And then he does this thing where he panders. So he spits something out. And I wasn't planning on attacking him or sparring with him. You know, I do a show. All guests are welcome. We'll have a congenial discussion. It wasn't a setup in any way, shape, or form. He then, in the middle of an interview, just brought up that half of Black and Hispanics who live in California don't have access to checking accounts, which is a lie. By the way, don't have access, maybe choose not to get checking accounts, but don't have access to checking accounts. But either way, it's a gross lie that he said half don't have access. That's insane. You know, California is probably half Hispanic. You think half of the people who live in California, half that group doesn't have access to a checking account? You couldn't function. But either way, he said it. I knew it was a lie, so I wanted to drill down on it with him. And he thought he was just going to toss it out there. I was going to nod my head because I had, white guilt, and we're going to get on to the next subject. But I pressed him. And when I pressed him, he obviously, as you heard, could not summon an answer. I just said why. I wasn't interested in what was going on. I was interested in how do we remedy this. He, of course, had no rebuttals or answers as to how we could remedy this.
It was amazing. I just kept asking why, and he couldn't answer it.